I always felt something was wrong with the empty lot next to our building. It was overgrown, abandoned. My son Leo often stared at it through the window. One evening he whispered, "They're watching." Who? I asked. "The soldiers." I shivered. That night I dreamt of rotting corpses in uniforms, reaching for me with bony fingers, their mouths forming silent screams. The next day, I searched online and found something horrifying. The lot was a mass grave from a forgotten war. Soldiers had died in agony there, their bodies never buried properly. I tried to ignore it until I saw Leo standing in the dark, whispering. "Who are you talking to?" I asked. He turned, his voice cold and distant. "They say they want a new body. They want me." That night, the air felt heavy, thick with something unseen. Suddenly, a scream echoed from next door. I rushed to the hallway. Flames were pouring from my neighbor's apartment. He stood inside, eyes wide, his body engulfed in fire, yet he didn't move. The firefighters arrived too late. His charred body was found in the center of the room, but the cause unknown. Leo watched the scene with a strange smile. After the fire, Leo became different. He talked less, stared at the empty lot more, and at night I heard whispers in his room, voices too deep for a child. One night I woke up to find him standing by my bed, his head tilted. "Leo," I whispered. "He's not here anymore." A voice answered from his mouth. The lights flickered. The shadows in the room moved. I wasn't alone. Desperate, I took Leo to a priest. He refused to enter the house. "This place is cursed," he muttered. "The soldiers, they hunger." I begged for help. That night, he gave me a vial of holy water and warned, "Do not let him touch the ground outside." But as I locked the door, Leo stood behind me, his pale lips curling into a grin. "They're already inside," he whispered. I decided to leave the apartment, bags packed, car ready. But when I opened the door, the hallway was wrong. The walls dripped with black sludge. The air smelled of rotting flesh. And at the end of the hall stood a soldier, his eyes burning with rage. Leo giggled. "You can't leave," he said. "They won't let you." The lights burst, the walls shook, and then the door slammed shut behind me. I ran to the window, but outside wasn't the city anymore. It was a battlefield. Smoke, fire, bodies piled high. The lot next door was filled with marching figures, all staring up at me, ... Leo laughed, but his voice wasn't his anymore. "They need a body," he said. "They want to live again." Then his small hands grabbed my throat, and I saw them, the soldiers, crawling toward me, reaching, dragging me down. When I woke up, I was outside, lying in the cold dirt. The lot was quiet. The apartment lights were off. ... I ran inside. Leo was gone. The only sign of him was his toy soldier lying on the floor. But when I picked it up, a whisper echoed through the room. "We have him now." Then, from the dark, the knocking began. Tap, tap, from inside the walls. I refused to believe Leo was gone. I searched the apartment, whispering his name. My hands trembled as I reached for his toy soldier. The whispers grew louder. The knocking turned to pounding. Then his voice, "Daddy, help me." It came from inside the walls. Heart racing, I grabbed a hammer and smashed through the plaster. Dust and debris filled the air until I saw it. A dark, gaping void, ... and inside, Leo's tiny hand, reaching out. I didn't think. I grabbed his hand, cold, fragile, but as I pulled, something pulled back. A dozen rotting hands gripped Leo, yanking him deeper. His face emerged pale, his eyes wide with terror. "They won't let me go," he screamed. I pulled harder, but then Leo's face changed. The terror vanished, his lips twisted into a smile. "You're too late," he whispered, and then his skin peeled away, revealing the grinning skull of a soldier. I I stumbled backward as the soldier's skeletal form crawled out of the wall. Thank you for freeing me, it rasped, ... I turned to run, but something latched onto my ankle. I looked down. Leo, his real face, was still in the void, his small hands desperately trying to reach me. ... Daddy, don't let them take me. Tears blurred my vision. A choice, one must stay. I had only seconds to decide. I lunged forward and grabbed Leo with all my strength. But as I pulled him out, something else pulled me in. The last thing I saw was Leo collapsing onto the floor, his eyes wide in horror as the wall sealed shut behind me. The darkness swallowed me whole, and outside, in the real world, Leo stood up. His face was blank. He turned to the toy soldier on the floor and smiled. Thank you, Daddy.
Don't forget to follow and like for more stories.